You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. So if you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. We're still in the feast, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right back into it. Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes of entertaining. Let's jump right in. Alarm chain, we're up, and let's go. Oh lord. No. Not again! Oh god! Oh my god, right as the video starts. Jeez. Alright. Vool, how about you and me, you handsome beast? Our pups would be hulking monsters who could conquer the world. She winks at him, causing the male to fluster. Vool is really cute when he can't handle his own flavor of advances. What an appealing perspective. He mutters uncomfortably and stands up, nudging Anel to rest herself against Regara's shoulder instead. I better go and fetch Verissa. She'll be needed for the vote. And off he goes, bolting with the tail tucked between his legs, causing me to chuckle. What a coward! If you dish it out, you should be able to take it. I shake my head in amusement and simply continue nibbling on my dinner, washing it down from time to time with wine. In truth, I prefer this over the ale, especially since this vintage is actually quite sweet, almost like boozy grape juice, none of that vinegary taste at all, which I normally associate with wines. But my idle enjoyment quickly comes to an end as with the black wolf gone, the white one sweeps into action. Before I even know it, he's already on me, grabbing my hand and pulling me up to my feet. Walk with me. Walk with me, now, he demands in a hushed tone as I try to object. Let go of me, I whisper, but seeing that we're drawing Regara's attention, I fall dead silent. What are you doing? The female looks to the white wolf with doubt. Nothing. I just need help. I just need him to help me with... He struggles to come up with a lie, and she gives him a knowing look. Tano, leave the human be. I'm really in no mood for your antics tonight. Why does everyone keep assuming that I want to do something? Because you're a devious little git. Ranok saved my life, and he is very set on this little one. If you harm him anyway, I should have to harm you in turn. The human and I are fine. The white wolf protests, and the female throws a curious gaze to me and tilts her head, almost as if she was trying to figure something out. Unsettled, I simply poke Tano discreetly so that he would let go of me, and the wolf complies. He raises his paws in defeat and gives Regara a dumb smile. See? Nothing underhanded here. Now, would you please? Tano then looks at me with a rather pleading expression and unfolds his hands in a direction where he means to lead me. I simply nod and we walk away from the table, leaving puzzled Regara to tend to Anel. Similar to Ranok, Tano leads me into the woods, and we meander between the trees until the sound of the feasting ground is just a distant murmur. He finally stops and shoves me back a few steps, snarl donning his angered muzzle. Is your intention to get killed tonight? What? No! Then what the fuck are you doing antagonizing her like that in the open? I wasn't antagonizing anyone, I protest, but he simply sneers at me with annoyance. I saw you fucking around with Anel to piss off Aldris. I wasn't fucking around, I was being nice and helpful. Oh, please, I've been playing this bullshit on others for far too long to not recognize when others do it. The small wolf mutters in a mocking tone, clearly hinting at his act at the previous feast. So you admit to being nice to me only to piss off Ranok. I didn't deny you had some inclinations towards the senile old she-wolf. He snorts in a slight offense and I scoff. Is that to say you have any towards me? I don't have any misgivings about you yet, but that credit of trust begins to wane pretty fast with the way you act. You know what? I'm not going to discuss trust and table manners with you. I roll my eyes in annoyance. He's the last one to preach to me about either. Fucking little creep. In fact, now that I think about it, I bet it was you who sent someone to ransack Ranok's house. Ranok's house? He blinks in immediate surprise. What are you talking about? Oh, please. I mimic his mannerism. Stop with the fucking games and get to the point. What did you want from us? I already told you. And I wouldn't have my associates come anywhere near that dumb wolf. Tano protests fervently, getting red with anger almost as if I threw a boiling water at him. 1 second, guys. I have enough Ranok-related drama to last me a lifetime. What's this weird animosity between you two? Why do I have the feeling you somehow redirect some of it on me? If that's what you feel, then you really need to work on your perception. He grunts mockingly, leaning against one of the trees with his arms crossed. My usages with Ranok are my own. I don't entangle others in that web. Square seems to think otherwise, and she claims to be your friend. Look, I'm not going to discuss my relationships with an outsider. The wolf barely contains a growl. My issues with Ranok have nothing to do with you. If I truly harbored any resentment based on my bad history with him, I'd have your head served to that idiot on a silver platter. Maybe. I shrug, unconvinced, yet slightly unsettled by his words. Or maybe you're just playing a long game I'm yet to understand. I could see why you'd think that. Distrusting me is the safest course of action, and I very much recommend it. So you're admitting I shouldn't trust you? You shouldn't trust anyone, not even Ranok. He sighs heavily, walking off a few steps. It's your odd, trusting nature that keeps perpetuating this shit show. You like hearing the sound of your voice, don't you? As a matter of fact, I do. He snorts. Some would say it's my best quality. You mean your only quality? Now, who's the one being spiteful? The wolf smirks and I roll my eyes. Ugh, I begin to understand why everyone dislikes you so much. You would drive a saint berserk. Why? Because I make valid points? Your points are as valid as likely as your bullshit stories. I sneer in annoyance, losing my patience for his dumb mind games. If you haven't raided Ranok's house, then who did? I ask mockingly, although my conviction slowly falters seeing his puzzled expression. What do you mean? Wait, are you saying that someone actually went through his house? His shock tells me that he took it at first as a blind accusation, but now I might have told him more than I should have. As clearly he picks up on my sudden shift, and he grabs my shoulder sternly. Tell me what happened. I shouldn't have said anything. Well, you've already said it. Did someone go through Ranok's house or not? I nod reluctantly. Not only is it too late to backtrack from it, but having him left lingering might only lead to more of his nosiness. Seriously? He sounds almost as shocked as the revelation of Ranok was. You're the nosiest wolf in the village. Why so surprised? Because this is taking it a bit too far. Well, if it wasn't you, then I suppose it's the elders. Tano shakes his head, his brows narrowed in deep thought. No, they're rash, but not dumb. Breaking into another wolf's den is... He takes a deep breath, closing his eyes in defeat. This is serious. Well then, who would have done it? I don't know. I'm not sure if he's faking the concern or if this really unsettles him, but as of now, he's the best lead I could possibly have, so I decide to appeal to his ego. You're very nosy and incredibly clever. Everyone keeps saying so. How dangerously perceptive Tano is. If you can't figure this out, what chance do I have? At first, he looks at me with a raised brow, taken aback by my words. As I finish my little pep talk, he gives me a smile filled with pity. Nice try. Fine. I sigh. If flattery won't work, then how about taking you on your word? You said you want to keep me safe. Now's your chance to prove it. I don't feel safe in a raided house. The wolf takes a deep sigh and walks a few steps in one direction than the other wolf. Maybe one of his pack members did it. He proposes, but he doesn't sound too convinced. I couldn't help but notice that Tyrion in particular doesn't like you. No, it's none of his wolves. I shake my head. Vul told them off, and they took it quite seriously. We're all actors here. You just happen to be the worst one. I doubt they were pretending, not with Vul. I give him a doubtful stare. Perhaps you're right. He shrugs, but quickly his expression turns to that of actual concern as he comes to a stop. But that would only leave Andalt, in which case I would suggest you start sleeping with your shutters and doors locked. He wouldn't attack Ranok in his own house, would he? Honestly, kid, even before you arrived, I couldn't bet a copper coin on what Andalt would or wouldn't do. Andalt is the one who's been watching. I think who's been watching them. Yeah, on the robe. Tano sighs heavily. But that's insane. Just as insane as tackling your own alpha inside of his bedroom. He hints at my almost arrest, and I frown. The borders of sanity have been pushed quite a bit ever since you came here. But why would Andalt attack us? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. He mutters worriedly. Maybe because trees told him to. Or maybe he had another of his crazy visions. He's always been touched. There's no rhyme or reason to what he did. Now more so than ever. My heart sinks a little, and I feel a cold sweat dot my body. This revelation unnerves me, more so since I don't know anything about this Andalt guy. Why am I learning about him being a problem just now? I guess Ranok and the others don't treat him as much of a threat. And considering he's a bit unhinged, why would they? Even if he would try anything, I doubt he could best Ranok in combat. Oh, I quite agree. Tano nods casually, throwing me off. Not many wolves would stand a chance against your guardian. But you're a different matter entirely. He lets his words hang a bit, biting his lower lip. All it takes is a well-placed stab. It doesn't even have to be a deep one. He pokes various parts of my body, starting with the abdomen, moving on to the chest, and finally the throat. A simple poke here or here, and especially here. The white wolf traces a line across my neck with his dull claw, and I shudder. So many places to choose from. Just a split second, and you're done for, long before your wolf could even react. You're doing it on purpose, freaking me out and deflecting my attention to another. You're the one who asked for my help. I saw Andal taking vigil at Ranok's house the very same night Vul had to save you from Tyrion and Dreyer. You've been there? I blurt out in shock, causing the wolf to laugh. And guess who else had been there as well, hiding in the bushes on the other side? I followed him there. So that's why my senses went haywire. There were at least 5 wolves hidden in the shrubbery. He notices my consternation and smiles, condescendingly patting my shoulder. As I said, you look to the obvious threats like Aldris and her chubby fuck buddy, while staying completely oblivious to the most lethal one closing in on you from the day you arrived. Fuck. I hope this proves my current lack of ill will towards you. I wanted to talk back at his snide remark, but realized that it would lead to nothing good, and he proved quite useful at the moment. I think we've been away for long enough. We tarry some more, and Ranok will launch another rescue mission. I laugh involuntarily at his jab at the grey wolf's overprotectiveness, and it causes me to look at him with doubled suspicion. He seems quite dismissive of the elders as well. I really can't figure this guy out, and it's incredibly frustrating. No wonder others dislike him so much. How can I be sure that all this isn't just some elaborate lie? Because I don't care enough about you to lie, let alone make it elaborate. The wolf states matter-of-factly through a chuckle, but I don't buy it. You seem mighty interested in me for that to be true. Why should I be interested? You're the biggest novelty of our generation. He laughed, shaking his head in disbelief. So you do care. Have you ever seen an eclipse? He proposes idly, and I decide to indulge him. I guess so. Fascinating, rare phenomena, isn't it? When it's there, all you can do is stare, trying to understand the mystery behind it. But once it's gone, your life continues like it never happened. He gives me a condescending smile before his expression turns blank. Curiosity and caring are 2 different things. Don't confuse them. What is your endgame here? Like, for real? I know it's hard for you to believe it, but I told you the truth. I want you out of trouble for the sake of the tribe. He looks to me with a solemn expression. Since you speak our language so fluently, more so than some of the wolves I know, you understand well enough how pressing my people's situation is. But you've been saying that even before Ranok Irigara has returned. I narrow my brows. His concern, had it emerged now after this briefing, would make perfect sense. But he acted concerned long before, almost as if he knew something was amiss. His tail swishes and he gives me a satisfied smirk. I see cogs begin to turn. Perhaps you're not a lost cause after all. The white wolf pats my back as we arrive at the feasting ground and walks off. It's nice to know you're not an eloquent chew toy. Makes things that more interesting. He keeps fucking with me, the little prick. But as much as he thinks he's smart, his ego does half of his talking. He just admitted he knew something was going on. Something completely unrelated to me. I take a deep sigh and decide to let it go for now. It would appear we have returned to the nick of time as the chief and Ranok walk up to the platform back from their private conversation. Even the bunnies are back, serving refreshments between the tables. The grey wolf casts his curious gaze between Tano, who's just taking his seat, and me as I barely approach the table. His muzzle betrays he's suspecting something, and I sigh internally, knowing I'll have to make up another lame excuse. I put my hand discreetly onto his knee to reassure him, and to my surprise it works. He smiles lovingly at me and turns his attention to the bonfire, where Vul can be spotted returning with Varissa. Once they take their respective seats, the chief grabs his goblet and begins to use it as a gavel, banging onto the table in a bid to grab everyone's attention. "Settle down, please, settle down," he calls out, putting an end to the casual conversations and mingling. He gives some time for the wolves to bolt back to their tables, more so since Aldris and Dran are incredibly unwilling to end their plotting. Once they're seated in their downsized stools, he glanced over to the empty spot beside him. "Where's Vithir?" he asked quietly in the direction of Vul and Regera, but the wolves only shrug. "Vithir, where the hell are you?" His calls echo across the ground and a paw raises from the far-off table. "Here, just give me a moment." The brown wolf responds as he gets up to his feet. He rushes towards us at a brisk pace, quickly taking a spot to his friend's left side. "Last-minute negotiating." He leans to Varric's ear and mumbles loud enough for me to hear. Good. Did Volgar give you a rundown of what we discussed so far? The chief addresses the white female, and she nods whilst pouring herself a glass of wine. Yes, although I've got the first paw account from the wounded. How are they doing? Friend lost a lot of blood, but should pull through. Anaya is in no immediate danger. However, her left arm is shattered like a piece of glass. She states heavily, taking a deep gulp. I did what I could to set the bones, but I can't make any promises beyond that. I've sent for Andalt, as I needed an extra pair of paws, but no one has seen him in 2 days. As much as I feel sorry for the 2 wounded wolves, my attention drifts immediately to the main suspect of our home invasion. Bah, that damned lunatic is probably hidden in one of the forest caves. He'd be more of a hindrance to you than an aid. The chief scoffs dismissively and then faces the crowd. So you've all listened to Brigara's account. I'm sure none here can question her integrity. Most of the wolves nod their heads and pat the tables in agreement. You have had the time to consider our situation and weigh whether it warrants the attention of the Howl. I know that we haven't convened one in nearly 10 years, so I do not take this issue lightly. It is my firm belief the current events call for decisive action. Again, the wolves pat their tables, this time with more zeal and energy. Hear, hear! So, anyone who thinks we should convene a Howl, make their voice heard. Pretty much all the gathered howled and growled, clanging their cups against the wooden tables in unison. It was a resounding cacophony of support for the notion. Anyone who is opposed to the idea, let it be known. Now, only a few voices echoed across the field, scattered between the far-off tables, drawing disapproving gazes of the majority. Well, there you have it. The chief looks towards Aldris, who sits on her stool with her arms crossed in the resting bitch-face expression. Seems no matter how you spin this, our people consider what transpired as an urgent matter. All that's left is for us to take an official vote. Ranok? He asks his son without breaking eye contact with a nasty female. I vote in favor. Volgar? Aye. Brigara? On my honor, aye. The chief turns towards the white wolf with slight reluctance, seeing as the male barely pays any attention to what's going on. Tano? Aye. The wolf responds to everyone's surprise, causing Aldris to utter a hushed growl. Even your little pet project can see reason when the stakes are high enough. The brown male smirks with satisfaction while the chief turns towards the shaman. Varissa? Aye, the wounded demand justice. The wolf nods in satisfaction. Obviously, with Delrin missing, his voice cannot be heard unless his father wants to speak for him. He turns everyone's attention to Aldris's shadow, and the male fidgets uncomfortably. But just as much as he's uneasy with the question, Aldris's muzzle beams with joy as she grabs her friend's shoulder and yanks it enthusiastically. Dran, this is your chance to end this madness and veto this farce. I will not betray my son's confidence, even if I disagree with him. Dran yanks his arm free, and everyone looks to the male with eyes wide open. Even Aldris is taken aback. Seeing Dran stand up to her must be a rare sight indeed. Knowing what we know, had the situation been reversed and it was Regaura missing out there, Darren would have voted to summon a Howl. Do you wish to vote for him, then, forfeiting your elder's voice? The chief asks with a tone so filled with confusion that most looks between each other to ascertain they've heard it right. Alright, perfect place to pause it. Let's do it. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!